Hello everyone, so welcome back to another video. So this is more progress on my menu. The last time we were showing off the fact that we could pick up an item and rotate, but nothing was quite working well enough. Since then we've managed to fix little bits, and now we have this. So we have a rotating object, and we can now rotate round accurately, and go to certain points, and then come all the way back. So, what's so special about this? Well, first off, the rotations. The rotations were messed up. Even though, with Celestial's help through all of this, what was happening was we were rotating the menu. What was happening was, when we'd rotate it about 20 times, eventually it would stop rotating properly, and you'd end up offset from the actual object, so you wouldn't overlap the object anymore, so the mouse cursor wouldn't be directly on it. This was awkward, really awkward, and we looked through the code. We both looked through the code, because I ended up just being like, look, this is easier going through this, because I can't find the solution, or rather the problem. It'd be a much easier thing if I just sent the project over, and we both had a look at it, and we found that it was rotating the camera arm by 45 point, I think 28 or 35. Now, even though I could go back in and re-enter the value as just flat 45 and hit enter, for some strange reason Unreal kept on adding a small value on the end of it, so it would always rotate off-center and eventually not even be on the object. So we ended up, I think it was multiplying and then dividing the float value of the two. And now when you look in the top left corner, what happens is it rotates to a certain number, and it's very accurate. The print string in the top left shows you just what angle it's rotating by, so that's highly accurate, and it's not failed me at all when I've been testing. So now, what did I do after that? Well, I needed the item to rotate, so I ended up going ahead and messing around with event dispatches, which was very confusing for me. During this whole time, I've been trying to learn different parts about Unreal, but because this is a project that keeps stopping and starting whenever I make progress, and whenever I hit a speed bump or a roadblock, and then I'm researching solutions for ages. Sometimes it can be, like a couple of days or so before I come back to it, so then I start forgetting code and things like that, even if I have commented on them. So, event dispatches was something that I'd looked at before as a solution, but never really attempted. So I go ahead, yesterday I think it was, and I try and learn them and how to use them properly, and it ends up not working. It ends up being a total mess. So I come back to it yesterday, sat down with a nice cup of coffee and watched some event dispatcher videos, and finally managed to get it to work using a couple of event dispatchers. We've got one that says when you pick up the item in the level, make it visible in the menu here. So it's always invisible until it gets picked up. And then we've got another technique that we're using. Originally what was happening was there was a widget attached to the actual cube. And this is the funny bit. When you would look at the widget, it's programmed to rotate the item when the interaction cursor is hovering over the widget. So, like for instance, you can see the red line in the middle of the screen here. The red line is a widget component. I was going to say widget simulation component then. It's a widget interaction component. So when you're hovering over a button, if you press the E key, it acts as if it was the left mouse button. So when you press the E key here, it gives us an interaction, and we get a string in the top left, just a developer string that says debug, widget has successfully been pressed. So that registers that the widget is actually on screen and directly in front of where the cursor is, which is attached to the camera. Now, the widget itself, what was happening was, because I had it attached to the cube, it would rotate about 45 degrees, and then because the cube would rotate away from the actual widget interaction component here, what was happening was the widget was rotating with the cube, and it would go 45 degrees, and then you wouldn't be able to press it because you couldn't actually target it anymore. It was moving with the cube out of the way, and then the cube was stopping. So it was almost like it was telling you, like, nah, you're not doing this, and just rotating away so you couldn't press it. So I ended up creating another invisible spring arm here and attaching the widget to that instead. And the widget is positioned just in front of the cube. So now it's independent, it won't move, and when you rotate out the way, you can't press anything, and the cube stops rotating. But the moment you hover back over it, it starts rotating again, and that's exactly what I wanted before. I would have liked it if it was to the point where whenever you went off it like this, it rotated back to its original position, but it's not really a big deal. Like, I don't mind it being like this at the moment. It's totally fine. So yeah, this is progress yet again on the Tomb Raider style ring menu. It's kind of like a tribute to Tomb Raider. The background's going to be changed eventually. I just put it as that dark red as a call out or a nod to it, because in the background on the Tomb Raider one, it's kind of like this dark red tapestry that flows in the wind. But yeah, looks really cool. I can't wait to have this as my my inventory menu, where I'm gonna have all the keycard items and all the different interactables that you can use in game. I'm gonna have that here. I might even have the save function and some controls set up in here. I'm not sure at the moment. All I need to do now is figure out the extra interactions with the menus, make the top menu so it interacts the same way, figure out how many items I'm going to have so then when it rotates it divides by the correct number. Yeah, it's fun. I'm really enjoying this. It's a very big learning experience. It's a struggle. There are some points where I have to go away on my own for like hours on end and try finding solutions, but I don't mind that. It's going to be worth the effort because it looks the part at the moment. This is just a very basic version of it, but just the fact that I've learned so much more about coding in Unreal over the past couple of days, and how I've managed to, with Celestial's help, bring this concept out a little bit more and get it to this point. I'm incredibly happy. You know, this is one of the final things that I wanted to implement, just kind of a neat nod to older games, and I've seen other people struggle with this type of menu before, so it's been nice bouncing ideas back and forwards between Celestial and trying to figure out how to make this thing work. Anyway, thank you very much for listening and watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and hopefully the next time we see this, it'll either be the final progress update before I implement it, or it will be the final version. Anyway, bye!